Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
We begin our journey with the aristocratic Roman nobleman and his love for fashionable attire. In ancient Rome, clothing and jewelry represented the wealthy individual immensely. Fabrics were quite difficult to grow and produce, therefore, one couldn't simply feign wealth by buying the latest attire. The romanticized attire of the Romans was the toga. However, this was actually a very impractical outfit and was reserved for formal occasions. For the everyday grind, the nobleman would don a tunic, cloak, or mantle. While I'm fairly hesitant of Augustus's dinner tonight, a chance to interact with the other senators will prove beneficial, and this toga will look perfect around the other patricians. But today is a packed day of events that I will want to be appropriately dressed for. Let's go with the tunic. As the nobleman leaves his home, he passes his head slave. I'll be going out to town. I want you to make preparations for my Senate meeting today.
Will you be going to the gladiatorial event at the Colosseum?
I was not aware of the gladiatorial event. Yes, I think I shall attend it. However, I expect my toga to be perfectly ready upon my arrival.
Yes, master.
Slaves in Roman society were often looked down upon and treated as inferiors. They would work menial jobs such as clothes washing, cooking, and cleaning. The slave owner was expected to treat his slaves well, but was not expected to honor or be kind to them. Hello, Gaius. Where will you be heading today? I was planning to go to the market. Where are you going? I was going to the Colosseum. There's a gladiatorial fight happening today. Care to join me? No, I don't think I shall go to any event sponsored by this new emperor. Go if you must. Games are games, and a tradition must be upheld. I will see you at the meeting then. The gladiatorial events took place in Rome for around 5 centuries. While some did not approve of the bloodshed in the name of entertainment, the majority was on board. There were many types of gladiatorial events in Rome. Quite interestingly, but not surprising, the majority of the individuals that took place in these events were slaves. Some were pit against fearsome beasts, and others were held to one-on-one combat in hopes of winning their freedom. Later events included battling via chariots and archers. I quite enjoy these games. I remember when I was but a child and my father took me to my first event. What a gruesome sight to behold it was. Good day to you, sir. What type of event will be observed today? Today will be a one-on-one combat in the name of freedom between 2 slaves captured in the Empire's territories. Lovely. May the best prevail. Absolutely. The Senate during the time of Augustus was losing power. They were turned into figureheads with most, if not all, the decisions being made by Augustus. However, Augustus held the popular support, and this created a sort of silent dissension within the Senate. I hereby call this Senate meeting to order. Our first order of business, the new emperor. What have you to say about him? It will come from this. The Senate was made for the people, by the people. This king worship will weaken our great republic. I object. This is a new opportunity, with the Senate working side by side with a new governing figure. Nay, an emperor. Perhaps it'll lead to good things. After all, he seemed quite popular. I agree with Gaius. The common folk do not know what is good for them, and one man cannot hold this much power. And yet, we must still accept this Augustus's favors and gifts if we are to be seen favorably in the eyes of the Republic. The balance of power is shifting, Felix. We might have to go with it. Following the senatorial meeting, the patricians head to the banquet being held by Caesar Augustus. Say what you will of Augustus, but I sure do love a dinner with all the food and drink your heart can desire. I second that statement, Lucius.
The seafood at these events is extremely fresh and abundant. The chef is of a level equal to an unmatched artist or musician.
Make sure you grab a helping of the shellfish, my friend. It is to die for. The Romans valued food and feasting so highly that they were unmatched in the effort placed upon dinners. Many of the dinners contained a wide variety of food. However, the primary food of choice was seafood because of the local coastline and countless territories that were along the Mediterranean Sea. But let it be known that other options were also prominent. They included boar's head, duck, and fowl. Among the festivities and intermingling of patricians, Caesar Augustus enters the room. Caesar Augustus was not favorable to much of the Senate because he was a threat to their very way of governmental operation. However, the man was held in high esteem by the people of Rome due to his numerous war feats and the reputation built by himself. Augustus looked to take all the power for himself, and no one was to stand in his way. While this may have been looked at as negative by some, the results of his rule were extremely beneficial to the Roman Empire. To all of you, I have gathered this group to ensure that there is no confusion about what is to come next. I understand that some of you refuse to legitimize my rule. However, this matters little. What I have planned for Rome is going to lead us to enormous heights. In the coming weeks, I will downsize the Senate in order to reduce the amount of disagreement and allow for more progression.
This is preposterous. It is not the will of the Senate, people, and the way of our republic.
Silence! I care little of what you think, Gaius. My plans outweigh your disagreement and is what is best for the empire. The other patricians are left in astonishment and do not dare let a word slip in fear of landing on Augustus's radar. Now you may leave if you wish, but do not let the food go to waste before the end of the evening. Augustus leaves the room to head to bed for the evening and falls asleep. Augustus was moderate in his clothing. He wore common clothes unless they were for some sort of special occasion. He could not bear the sun and was commonly seen with a broad-brimmed hat. He was a very superstitious man and would glean omens from little things such as putting on his shoes wrong as a foretelling of some great disaster, or simply just dread certain names. What a lovely morning. I have much work to attend to today and must make haste. My usual tunic and hat will suffice. Augustus sees a black crow. Ah, what bad luck. This must mean the man to be dealt justice today may be certainly guilty. His name being Tiberius always sounded unlucky. I'll be extra cautious with him now. He himself administered justice regularly and sometimes up to nightfall, having a litter placed upon the tribunal if he was indisposed or even lying down at home. In his administration of justice, he was both highly conscientious and very lenient, for to save a man clearly guilty of parricide from being sewn up in the sack, he is said to have put the question to him in this form. You surely did not kill your father, did you? Suetonius, in Life of Augustus. I hereby call this court to order.
O great, mighty Lord Augustus.
Do not call me Lord. I am but a man.
All my apologies. Humbled Augustus, I am surely innocent of stealing my neighbor's pigs. I do not even like pigs.
Lies, I tell you. Lies! Calm down, men. I will draw this to the next morn if I have to. Jupiter, help us. Well, did you steal his pigs, Tiberius?
No.
Liar! I saw my pig's carcasses with my own 2 eyes. He ate them, I tell you. We shall postpone this till tomorrow morn, whence I shall declare the final verdict. Present any evidence to me of this accused theft, Hector, or he is innocent. The Senate would never betray me like this. Following the judgments, Augustus takes his leave and makes way for the war room. Once there, he greets his generals. He begins to talk of the war when a general speaks up. Forgive me, Augustus. Should we wait for the word of the Senate prior to any decisions regarding troop movements? Negative. I will no longer be seeking the approval of the Senate that has no experience with war. From now on, decisions will be made by me with the advice of this group. Very well. Let us proceed with the meeting at hand. Prior to Augustus's rule of the Roman Empire, decisions regarding war were discussed among the Senate and agreed or disagreed upon. This took an insane turn with Augustus's rise to power. He made war decisions on his own and did not include the Senate. Furthermore, his experience in war made this decision beneficial to the empire, as Rome was extremely successful in conflict for centuries. The Senate did not submit to Augustus without conflict. They wrote scathing criticisms of him and would often mock him under pseudonyms. Sometimes, members would call out insults during meetings, and Augustus would rebuke the Senate as a whole. The Senate has called me a fool and a charlatan. They claim to have been locked out of the war meeting between us and the generals of our glorious army. Great Senate, I speak on your behalf. I convey what you need to say. For you. You hog, we have no voice because of you. I assure you this is not the case. I speak for you, and I speak kindly of you, even when you insult me. You publicly oppose me, but I publicly support you. Then you stab us in private. What trickery is this?
Hush, let him speak. He does speak highly of us in public.
For his own devious ends, of course. Let there be order. No!